Games. Twitch games. Twitch games for you. Hi, I'm Fallon, streamer on twitch.tv and amateur game maker. Well, I've got a new game here for you today. We're going to show you how to install rock, paper, scissors so your stream can play with you. Now, here's a couple things that you're going to need before you get started. You're going to need Lioranboard. You're going to need a way to connect Lioranboard to your OBS. I have a tutorial in my last video, which you can check up here, on how to install Lioranboard and how to connect it to your OBS. Once you've done that, you're going to need a couple extra things. You're going to need some rocks. Rocks. You need some paper. Paper. And you're going to need some scissors. Scissors. We don't throw scissors. I'm just kidding. Everything you need for this game is in the downloads channel in my Discord, linked down in the description below. In there, you'll find a folder called Jankin. It has all the basic PNGs you need to get the game started, as well as the game itself. Everything in this is customizable. So once you're done with this video, take the time to pick out your own images and create a layout that's unique to you. As long as you don't change the name of any source in OBS, the game will work as it's intended to. This is what mine looks like. All right, let's see it.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, doing a hotkey for this is so much better. I don't know why I didn't hotkey it before. Ooh, that's a draw. I know, pretty cool, isn't it? Let's get it installed. First thing we need to do is install the game. So let's take that configs file from the folder we downloaded from Discord and paste it into the Lioranboard receiver folder. Look, it's a lot of folders. I get it. Just keep going. You're fine. Once you've done that, change the X in the configs name to whatever the next number is in the sequence of configs file that you already have. For me, that number is 8. Now, let's open up OBS. Let's open up our receiver inside the receiver folder. And let's open up the Stream Deck inside the PC folder for Stream Deck. Now, my port number looks different than yours probably will be, and that's because I have multiple Lioranboards open connected to multiple OBSs. The next thing you need to do here is find out what deck you need to open. So go to your Lioranboard, scroll down till you find Fallon Jankin. Now, if you installed the configs file correctly, you will see this deck now in your Lioranboard. If you don't see it, you need to make sure that you put in the configs file in the correct folder and number it sequentially with all of the other files. So for us, it is deck number 9. So we're going to make sure our selected deck is 9 and connect. Okay, now let's move this in an area that you can still see OBS. Now we're going to click Create Game. And if everything worked correctly, you will see a new scene added into your OBS called Fallon Jankin. If we click this, we'll see we have scissors, paper, rock, and winner for the player. Scissors, rock, paper, and winner for the streamer. I don't know why that changed order. And versus. Now what we need to do is go ahead and populate all of those different items with the images from the file that you downloaded earlier. Now, these are temporary images for you to use. Customize this however you want. This is just giving you a baseline so you can get the layout that you're looking for and you have an idea of what you want to be like when it's on your stream. So if we click on the scissors for player, we hit browse, go to our downloads, and this is scissors, so we'll choose this, and there's our image. Turn it on, that's what it looks like. Of course, we can set this wherever we want on our screen. Same for paper. Mine was Paper Mario. Downloads. I have a sheet of paper. Boom, there's our sheet of paper. And so on and so forth. I was using the boulder from Avatar, and we're just going to have a rock. And there's our rock, and you kind of can't see it because it's behind the paper. So go ahead and do this for all of your different items. Go ahead and add it for this one as well. Put our verses in there. Show that off. Center it wherever we want. And then for the winner, I have my dab emote. But instead, we're going to use, this is what I used. was this starburst. And it's massive, I know, just resize it. And this is the identifier that I used to signal, at least at a glance, who the winner is. That image or icon or whatever you want to call it will appear behind or around the winning side to show that this one's the winner. The other side didn't light up, so they're not the winner. And then you'll just want to copy the same images. Again, I was using the rock, the boulder, I'm sorry, and paper, so on and so forth. Have your images the same on both sides. The next thing you want to do is figure out where you want things laid out. Left side, right side, have all your images, boom, bada boom, drag these up. All right. The next thing that we want is we need to add 2 text sources. We will call the first one streamer name. All right, and just type in hello, whatever you'd like in there. And the next text file is going to be player name. Whatever. All right, so you can drag these wherever you want. If you want the player name on this side and the streamer name on this side, however you want to do it. But we will need one of them named streamer name and the other one named player name. Those are going to follow in with our commands through Lioranboard so that they turn on and off when they're supposed to. All right, the next thing we want to make sure of is that all of our streamer options and the name are in alignment with each other, and the same for the player. So we have the streamer name right here up top, all of these items right here, streamer, 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 but the winner for streamer is over here. So this needs to be with these items. Same for the player. Player name, and all of these items right here are the scissors, rock, paper, and winner for player. So make sure, however you do your alignment, that your objects are grouped together correctly and separate from the player streamer side. All right, now the last thing that you need to do inside OBS is to customize your text. So the streamer name should be whatever your name is. So for me, it'd be Falonier. And the player name, it doesn't matter what the player name says, but make sure your fonts are set up, the colors are set up, strokes, however you want the text to look. Go ahead and set that up now so that you can have it all ready for when Lioranboard kind of takes over.
One more thing!
Lioranboard seems to have an issue creating text files, so we need to add 3 more. We need 2 text files that say ready, and then 1 text file for waiting to show that the game is active, but the streamer hasn't accepted or engaged in the game yet. So we need a streamer, if we spell it right, streamer ready. And you don't, let's see, ready, but we have to spell it right. So ready, we can move this right here because it's the streamer name. Text, streamer waiting. And we have to type into the thing and not hit, oh my God, typing is like the hardest thing to do today. And waiting, kind of overlay it, overlap it, and then player ready, same thing. Type in ready and drag it over. So when we go back into Lioranboard, we will make sure that all of these text files are being looked at correctly. So we have to bounce a little bit back and forth between Lioranboard and OBS to make sure everything's talking correctly. But we'll need these images there so that Lioranboard can turn them on and off at the appropriate times. All right, now, so let's move over to Lioranboard and go ahead and set up everything on that end. You see a lot of different buttons here. These buttons are the ones that you will need to at least look at, maybe make a change to, or adjust to be specific to your stream. The rest of the buttons exist. You won't really have to worry about them unless you want to get kind of super customizable, but I wouldn't do that unless you really understand how Lioranboard works. If you do, go for it. But if you don't, these buttons you can just leave alone. The game will run just fine. With the start game button, the only thing that you would need to worry about here is right clicking it and going to edit Twitch triggers. This is the button that is connected to your channel point redemption. So once we're done making sure that everything here works, we'll go and create our channel point redemption on Twitch. Whatever it is you name your channel point redemption, the same name has to be put here. I would just copy and paste that name and put it right in here, because this is going to be what starts your game. So Lioranboard has to read the exact same name that Twitch shows. On the streamer joins button, we'll right click and go to edit commands. The only thing here that you'll really need to change, or have the option to change, is the number of rotations. So this number right here determines how many times that the preview scrolls through all the different options before a winner is chosen. If you want the kind of slot rotation to last longer, you want this number to be higher. If you want there to be less time before the result's chosen, you make this number lower. If you go down to player wins, right click and go to edit commands, you'll see a bunch of things in this button, a lot of commands. You won't have to worry about changing or even touching any of this. The only thing that you will want to customize is at the very bottom for the chat message. This is what shows in Twitch chat whenever somebody beats you. You can customize this message whatever you want. Just make sure you probably don't want to have my name in there. Anything inside of these backslashes, you want to keep these as they reference the player's name and the number of times that they've won respectively. Just change all of the text around it to be whatever you want customized for your stream, and it'll work just fine. In the streamer wins button, if you right click, go to edit commands, we have the same thing, except this is what happens when you win. So you want to customize this message to say whatever you want it to say. There's the option here of referencing the player that you beat, and then your number of wins. Customize how, oh, I missed the letter E in mine. Okay. The other thing that you want is to rename this section right here to whatever your name is as the streamer. The next button we want to look at is the wins recall button. The only thing you need to be aware of here, if we right click it and go to edit Twitch triggers, we have a command here that pulls up the number of wins that any specific player has. Can be used by anybody. The command is !Jankin, and then the name of the person that you want to see their number of wins for. The only thing to mention here is that you don't want to use the @ symbol. Just don't use the @ symbol. It won't work. I don't want to explain why it won't work, but if you were in my stream and you wanted to look up how many wins I have, !Jankin Fallon. Shameless insert in the middle of teaching, I know, but if you're enjoying any of this, if it's helping you, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making on the channel, please make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and throw a little comment for the algorithm. I appreciate it, and I'll make sure to respond to it as well. Now, when we're getting into customization, we do want to talk about the reset button. If we right click and go to edit commands, all this button does is just make sure that any possible source within the game that could be on is getting turned off. So if you add any extra sources, audio files like I have here for the alert and the 3, 2, 1 go, you add in any audio sources or anything like that, make sure that you also put them in this button as well to be turned off. That way they work the next time the game is turned on. This is just to make sure to double check and make sure everything is turned off. Now we'll look here at the text header OBS button, right click and go to edit commands. This button right here is what creates the leaderboard that you will show your chat on screen. If you want it, you don't have to. I thought it was a really cool accessory, and then we'll show you how to set that up. The only thing here that you want to edit is this title. This is the title to your leaderboard. You can call it whatever you want. Just change that, leave the quotation marks and the \n. If you want to do top 10, you would change this number to be 10. If you only wanted 3 or number 1, it doesn't matter. The number of people that you want listed, change this to be that number, and then you can title that leaderboard whatever you. Now you'll see here we are creating we're changing the text for the leaderboard every time this is triggered. We want to make sure that we add in, when we go back to OBS, we will add in the leaderboard as well. It cannot be put inside of the Lioranboard scene, so we'll put it inside another scene. We'll talk more when we get there. All right, the last button that we're going to look at is the Reveal Leaderboard button. If we right click that and go to Edit Twitch Triggers, you'll see that the command !Jenkin LB is what's going to turn on that leaderboard, and it's set currently to where anyone can trigger it. So if anyone in your chat wants to see what the current leaderboard is, this is how they would do that, and we'll show you how to make that leaderboard before we end the video. All right, now that we're back here in OBS, we need to take the time to make sure all of our sources are animating, turning on and off correctly. So to do that, we need to open up our Lioranboard Stream Deck. So we'll go to Lioranboard Stream Deck PC, Lioranboard Stream Deck. Takes a little time to open. Make sure we have the correct deck selected. For me, it's deck 9. And you should see all of the buttons that we've been working with so far. First thing we want to do is to check and see if we reset that it turns everything off the way it's supposed to. If it doesn't, we have to go back in Lioranboard and make sure that it works. So we'll hit reset, and it turned everything off. This is a really good sign for us. So what we'll do is we'll hit start game. So we have the streamer name in the top. We have the player name of the person that initiated the game. And this text file right here will automatically update to be the streamer's name. The versus sign is turned on. The player ready logo is on. The streamer waiting logo is on, and it did that little flicker, so we know that worked. So everything so far has worked exactly as it's supposed to. We'll hit streamer joins. All right, this sets it to ready. We have our rotations. All of this is working perfectly. All right, so here we have an issue. So a result was chosen on the left side. Whoops, and then it turned off. So a result was chosen on the left side. Result was not chosen, or on the right side, I'm sorry, and not chosen on the left. All right, so in post-production, I realize now that the scissors for the streamer didn't actually have anything on it. So if we go ahead and put Cutman in, which we've done here, if we go ahead and start this over again, we should see that it's all there. So boom, streamer joins, and then we'll see the entire rotation of rock, paper, scissors on the left side. Boom, we're all good. So the game works. It runs through all the sources. There's a tie, but we do know that the streamer wins on the left side works. If we ran it through enough times for the person on the right to win, we'd see the streamer wins on that side as well. So we know all of our sources are working. All right, next thing for us to do is to go ahead and create the leaderboard. Now, as I said before, we cannot put the leaderboard in the same scene as everything else, and I'll show you why. So let's go to another scene. I would recommend you use a scene that you kind of hold all your other alerts in, or maybe create a nested scene of all of your alerts. We'll pretend that this one called scene is that. So we'll open up a text file. And if we go back and look, in the text header for OBS, the text file is called Jenkin Leaderboard, right? So we'll go back to this text file, Jenkin Leaderboard. Now you don't have to call it this, but this is the simplest way to do it. And you can put, whatever you want in here. Set your font, set your, if you want a stroke, if you want a size, you resize the whole 9 yards. But we're just going to make sure this is working. So we put it in here to verify that this is talking to the right thing. And this works for any source that listed in one of these buttons. We'll go to Edit Commands. If you click your source, Jenkin Leaderboard is right there. If you called it anything else, it would be in this list. You just click that particular one. Boom. So now I know that this source right here is talking to this source right there. So we're good for that. So we'll hit done. Hit done. All right, we can minimize this. We don't need it now. Let's go back to OBS and let's open up our chat. Boom, right here. We're going to !Jenkin sort. Well, if I could type it in, !Jenkin sort. Now, as you can tell, that hasn't really done anything. And that's because there aren't any players that have participated in the game and that have a score. So it's got nothing to sort. But once you run this game a couple times in testing on your stream or on testing off your stream if you need to, get a couple players set up in there, use Jenkin sort, and it will go ahead and sort out your leaderboard. It'll title it. It'll give you, first, second, third, however you set that up. And it'll have that listed out for you. Now, the reason why we don't put this inside Falconer Jenkins is because we'll create a new scene. We'll call this one scene 2. That's fine. And in this scene, we'll have, let's do a color source. Perfect. All right. So this is our gameplay scene. Our camera's on here somewhere. That's fine. Inside this, we're going to have our nested scene, Falconer Jenkins. And currently there's nothing on it. So we'll just turn on a couple sources so we can see some stuff. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to resize the game anywhere on our screen just like this, because we don't want it to obscure everything, right? So let's say we throw it down here in the bottom right hand corner. If our leaderboard is listed on here as well in that same scene, it's also going to get shrunk and it's going to get relegated to that particular spot on the screen, and you can't put it anywhere else. But if we then add another scene, and we're going to add our scene called scene, this is where our leaderboard is, we can then resize this and have it literally anywhere else on the screen. Then if we right click the scene that has our leaderboard, we can go show transition fade. That's fine. And then hide transition, also fade. That's fine. So when your chat uses the leaderboard reveal command, it's going to turn this scene on and off just like that. And you can animate this in all kinds of ways that I really don't have time to go over in this video, but this is why you want your leaderboard separate from the actual game itself, so you can put them in different places, animate them separately, that whole system. The very, very last thing that we're going to do is pull up Lioranboard one more time, go in here at streamer joins. We're going to right click and we're going to edit Twitch triggers. This right here is how you as the streamer respond to the game. So when the player starts the game, it'll do the waiting flash until it goes steady, and then the game waits for your input to then begin. This is your input. ! Accept is how you start the game. So you can type this into chat to start it, or you can start it a different way, and I'll show you how to do that. So we'll hit done. If we right click, we find that this button is called ID 66. That's very important for us to know. We'll hit done here. And we're going to click this button called Trigger Shortcut. Now, it says if this is the first time using Lioranboard, this probably doesn't do what you think it does. This is a shortcut menu to create triggers for existing buttons. Long story short, this is how you hotkey specific buttons to happen. So we'll hit plus. Our ID is ID 66. Now, we create any shortcut we want on our keyboard, and it will activate that particular button. So let's say we want Control Insert. So whenever the player starts the game, waiting flashes. As soon as waiting is done flashing, if you hit Control Insert, it's going to trigger the button the same way it would be if you hit ! Accept, and then the game starts. This keeps you from having to tap out of your games, go over to the chat, type something in. The typing in is available to you if for some reason your hotkeys aren't working. But this is the way that, especially in my experience, I would set up this button. That way you can do your part of the game and have it run. And that's it. 24 minutes into this video and you've got it all figured out. All you have to do now is customize this game however you want and play it with your chat. If you would, post clips of your game down below so I can see how you customize yours. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to hit me up in the comments and I'll do everything I can to help you out. My name is Falconer. I'm wearing a completely different outfit than when we started, and I hope you've enjoyed the video.